You're listening to New England Real Estate Journal Radio with Rick Kaplan, New England source for commercial real estate news. This is New England Real Estate Journal Radio on the Money Matters Radio Network and online at moneymattersboston.com.
Welcome to the New England Real Estate Journal Radio Show. I'm Rick Kaplan with my co-host Eric Wilson. And you know what, Eric? We have a great show for you today. I had to say that.
I know.
And the show today is brought to you by the New England Real Estate Journal, bringing together the commercial real estate industry for over 50 years. Find us at NEREJ.com. If you'd like to be a guest or sponsor for the show, call 800-654-4993 or email us at radio@NEREJ.com. Again, that's 800-654-4993 or email radio@NEREJ.com. And Eric, tell me, what did we do last week?
What did we do last week?
Yeah. Did we have any events we went to?
I don't think I went to any events last week.
We did go to the Blue Book.
Yeah, I went to the Blue Book Showcase at Gillette.
Yeah, that was great.
That was great. A lot of traffic.
A lot of traffic. A lot of contractors, developers.
Yeah, and always 2 free drink tickets.
Yeah,
with every business card you gave out. That was sweet.
That was a nice little event.
Yeah, it was. It was a nice walkthrough. I mean, like I said, it was high traffic, so that's always a good thing. Yeah. And we also went to...
we also met a lot of good people there.
We did. Where did we go last week? We did go somewhere last week. Didn't we do a double last week?
Double. I know I had a couple of doubles last week, but I don't remember if there were any events
I don't
involved.
think so. It was a little slow last week, I'm guessing, because I can't remember any of the events.
They must have been good events.
Other than the Blue Book. Yeah.
Yeah, whenever you can't remember, it's always good events. So we have on the show today, we have City of Hartford, Connecticut, and they'll talk about the DONO project they have going on in North Hartford. And we also are going to have a special guest, Harry Pratt, who ran the marathon. He's been running the marathon. This was his 25th year.
Oh, celebrating his 25th anniversary.
Yeah,
Much like the New York Real Estate Journal.
Yeah, we're going to find out how the atmosphere was this year, after all the tragedy that happened last year.
Yeah. Congratulations to all the runners this year, by the way, who finished it. We know a bunch of them. Maria
it's
Benway.
And there's so many in the industry that do run.
And Lisa Nickerson. If you want to see the photos of her, she has it on Nickerson PR. And, Service Master by Gilmore, Sarah Freeman and Maria Benway ran. Hey, here at Money Matters Radio Network, Kerry Doherty ran.
That's right.
So we know a lot of people that ran.
And
you and I didn't.
It's amazing that so many of them run because there's so much time and effort that you have to put into training.
Right.
Before that marathon?
And work. I mean, that seems like
that's
too much for us.
People in the industry, they were always working.
Yeah, I know. So. It's amazing that they can do 2 things, Rick.
It is amazing. How does someone fit exercise into their lifestyle? I have no idea. But, that's everyone's got to like something, I guess.
Everyone has a hobby?
That's right. Everyone's got to have a hobby.
The only time you run is when you're being chased?
Which is quite frequently.
It is.
So that's what's going on in the world today. The show today is brought to you by the New England Real Estate Journal, bringing together the commercial real estate industry for over 50 years. Find us at NEREJ.com. If you'd like to be a guest or sponsor for the show, call 800-654-4993 or email us at radio@NEREJ.com. Again, that's 800-654-4993 or email radio@NEREJ.com. And we'll be right back on Money Matters Radio Network.
The next level in commercial real estate. This is New England Real Estate Radio on the Money Matters Radio Network and online at moneymattersboston.com.
And we're back on New England Real Estate Journal Radio. I'm Rick Kaplan with my co-host Eric Wilson. And our interview today is brought to you by New England Restaurant Brokers, recognized leader in the sale of food and liquor businesses for over 30 years. New England Restaurant Brokers' team of restaurant specialists have sold hundreds of food and liquor businesses. If you're looking to buy, sell, or develop a food or liquor business, call New England Restaurant Brokers at 617-721-9655 or go to NERestaurantBrokers.com. Again, that's New England Restaurant Brokers at 617-721-9655 or email nerb@comcast.net. That's NERB at Comcast.net. And we have on the phone with us the City of Hartford, Connecticut, and we're going to be interviewing with Caitlin Palmer, Stephen Cole, and Khara Dodds. Is that correct?
That's correct.
I got everyone's name right.
Yes,
that's right.
All right.
Thanks, Rick.
So we're talking about the DONO project. And one of the things that we haven't discussed in our past shows is the demographics that it's attracting right now. Can we talk a little bit about that?
You know, Rick, what we're experiencing in downtown Hartford particularly, I mean, citywide, we have a very young demographic. We have a very diverse demographic, too. I think we can probably gloat about being one of the more diverse cities in New England, but for what it's worth with our downtown, we have a very young population. These folks are, 60-some-odd% are under the age of 35. 74% of them are under the age of 45. 78% of them also happen to live alone. They're single, but they also have a per capita income of about $80,000 a year. We also know that about 25% of them, there's a natural attrition in our downtown. About a quarter of our residents didn't live here a year ago, and they probably won't live here a year from now, which is certainly one of the things that catalyzed our housing project because we wanted to understand how best to respond to the market demands. But for what it's worth, Hartford is a very young, very well-educated population, and now we just have to make certain that we lay the tracks to keep them here.
Okay, so what makes it attractive for these younger professionals?
Well, I think the access to education, there are certain resources here, too, that don't necessarily exist in such close proximity. Our location within the Knowledge Corridor also perhaps assists us with that. One of the things that we do, though, have to overcome is the reality of the cost for student loan debt. I think we're the third or the fourth highest in the country. And that's one of the things that's actually enticing folks to want or to have to leave our region. So enhancing quality of life so that we can actually have the cultural attractions, the economic attractions to keep these folks here. I think that's the better way to respond because for what it's worth, they're already drinking the Kool-Aid. They know about Hartford and they want to come here. We just have to make certain that we have all the things that they're looking for to keep them here.
And one of those things being housing and some
one of those
and a nightlife, correct?
I'm sorry, Rick. What was that part there?
Some of the things are housing and nightlife. Correct?
Oh, absolutely.
The younger crowd, that's what they are looking for.
That's true, and you know, this entrepreneurial class too. We're seeing a rise in this. For what it's worth, entrepreneurial tendencies exist in almost everybody, but really tapping and cultivating those are some of the things that we're trying to do in Hartford. So these young folks, they're interested in more than just a place to live. They are interested in recreating. In fact, two of the top things that appear on all of the lists when asked about young folks and entrepreneurs appear to be a talented labor pool and culture. Taxes is almost never at the top of that list.
Right.
That's a good thing for you guys.
Yeah.
So how do you address culture?
We do offer other things as well. As far as you talked about nightlife. I mean, when you talked with Christina Newman-Scott the last time, we've probably talked about all the things that our Marketing, Events, and Cultural Affairs Division is doing with other organizations and agencies in the city to increase the marketing because we do offer great arts, great culture, great entertainment. I mean, this summer alone, I probably can't even count on one hand all the things that we're going to be doing throughout the city. And then Steve mentioned recreation. I mean, Hartford has over 1,200 acres of parkland in its borders. So, we've got that. We've got the access to the river that the master plan study that we did for DONO and other areas of the downtown is looking to explore increasing connections. So it's definitely a multifaceted approach, and we have it to offer for sure.
Absolutely. Right now, I think we're putting the plans in place to capitalize off of the assets that we already have. So, as Caitlin was saying, we have the park master plan, which we will be looking to see how we can improve our park network and make sure that we have a park network that is connected throughout the city. We have DONO, where we are going to have a gateway neighborhood that will create vibrancy and will have the amenities that you need, such as culture, entertainment, and retail, as well as 1,300 housing units. That alone is a $325 million investment. So we are really right now just working to lay the groundwork to make sure that we can take Hartford to the next level.
And, for a city that's 18 square miles, we're not so unique in that, New England cities are post-industrial inelastic. We're not going to grow our 18 square miles. However, we do have a unique opportunity that many New England cities don't have. We have an opportunity to grow our downtown, and that's what DONO represents. We have an opportunity to extend our downtown by, how many acres is it?
Acres, I think it's over 200 technically between 200. The downtown north original area and the downtown west.
Mm-hmm.
Like 200 plus acres.
Right.
So from a developer's standpoint, you have the younger professionals that are living there. So it's those are the people that are going to spend the money right now, especially on housing, and nightlife, restaurants, retail, things like that. So it makes a lot of sense for a developer to come in there, because it's all young professionals.
So you had mentioned downtown west as well. So is there more projects going on for redevelopment or development in Hartford other than DONO?
There certainly are. As part of the master plan, we started focusing on what is now known as the DONO area, and we have essentially identified sort of two priority areas, although I think you could safely break those up into even 4 rather large development parcels that exist just in the DONO area. And then technically, south of Interstate 84, there are, I believe, potentially 3 other, blank slate development opportunities that exist in the downtown alone. And then not to mention, we're happy to market other areas throughout the city. We've got we've got opportunities everywhere.
Oh, it's true. And actually, even the existing downtown, the proper central business district, we're looking at doubling almost the number of residential units currently. So we're at capacity as well. We're experiencing about 97% capacity for our downtown residential units. We're at about 1,800 or so. And this is just the 06103 zip code. That's not including some of the ancillary neighborhoods that lead into our downtown, Alden, Charter Oaks. But certainly if we would include those neighborhoods, we'd see much more favorable demographics, I think. But incidentally, we're looking at adding about 1,300 new units in the next couple years, and they've already begun ground on 4 of those structures. 2 of them are conversions, 1 of them is a complete build, and we're actually working with the state right now too. They're vacating some existing space on the other side of Bushnell Park, on the west side of Bushnell Park. So we're looking at the feasibility of converting those into residential as well, creating something akin to what you have in Boston around the park.
Right.
I'm
sorry.
Make sure that we have diversity in our housing types too. So we are looking to see what housing types will work well economically, and then placing them in neighborhoods so we can get that diversity in our population as well.
That's
this
precisely
can be a
true.
place for young people, for families, for a variety of people.
Empty nesters, everybody.
Yeah,
Is there
we're actually even
I'm sorry, go ahead.
and audacious. I'm sorry, Rick. I didn't mean to cut you off. I just wanted to piggyback off of what Khara was saying, because we're willing to do. This is I would say this is an entrepreneurial moment for government, because we're willing to do things that we hadn't done in the past, perhaps because we didn't have to. But we know that because of what Khara just mentioned, the diversity in the housing stock, some people don't necessarily want to live in high towers. They want to live in the downtown, but not in the high towers. They want that front door. They want that backyard. And so one of the things we're considering is taking some vacant, underdeveloped, underutilized space in our downtown along Buckingham and Capitol, and we're toying with the idea of actually creating plans for townhomes that are pre-approved so that a developer can come in, pull them right off our shelves, and start construction. That's one of the things that we're doing to help cut down on the construction costs.
Are there any cities outside of this area that you're modeling any of these developments after, or if your plans on these different types of housing that people like, whether it be townhouses, brownstones, or apartment buildings?
Well, I know the parts of the country they had these developments that they made these quad type housing, where there'll be 4, almost like a townhouse, but all 4 of them are connected.
Like micro units?
Yeah, almost on a micro unit type.
Actually, we have a developer who's just begun construction on a number of I think it's 60 micro units in the downtown, about 500 or so square feet. Really excited about receiving those. But furthermore, with regard to model cities, it's difficult for us to identify a peer city who has a similar downtown. Now, we can point to Springfield, Worcester, Lowell, Providence. They're all peer cities. They certainly match our demographics, have a similar history, so similar socioeconomic conditions. But when we look at our downtown and some of our neighborhoods, it's difficult to find peer cities to us. And one of the things that we learned about Hartford particularly is that Per the HUD standards, 25% of the city's home ownership is homeowner occupied. Now, 75% of the city's housing stock, however, is multifamily. So using the way that the HUD, the Department of Housing and Urban Development, determines home ownership rates, it doesn't work for us because we're a city largely of multifamily homes. Also, we're a city with these homes having built prior to World War I. A lot of the other New England cities don't necessarily have that. So it is difficult for us sometimes to find peer cities. But we do have to sometimes look outside our own region to be able to do that.
Right.
Well, we're going to have to go to a break. When we come back, I want to talk about this the EDA funds that are awarded. I think that the City of Hartford has received some of that, and also
that's correct. Yeah, we were.
Yeah, and also
the SC2 challenge.
Yeah, and also the UConn winning.
Congratulations!
Champion, and then also, aren't they moving some of their campus to the downtown area, or expanding campus? Yeah. So when we come,
correct. They will.
Well, when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about that. Okay. And the interview is brought to you by.
Good.
The interview today, no, that's okay. The interview today is brought to you by New England Restaurant Brokers, recognized leader in the sale of food and liquor businesses for over 30 years. New England Restaurant Brokers' team of restaurant specialists have sold hundreds of food and liquor businesses. If you're looking to buy, sell, or develop a food or liquor business, call New England Restaurant Brokers at 617-721-9655 or go to NEREJRadio.com. Again, that's New England Restaurant Brokers at 617-721-9655 or email nerb@comcast.net. That's nerb@comcast.net. And we'll be right back on Money Matters Radio Network.
Your home for commercial real estate news. It's New England Real Estate Journal Radio on the Money Matters Radio Network and online at moneymattersboston.com.
And we're back on New England Real Estate Journal Radio Show. I'm Rick Kaplan with my co-host Eric Wilson. And our second half of our interview is brought to you by Command Security Corporation, is the nation's most trusted and experienced provider of affordable contract security services. Command Security Corporation, with offices nationwide and operations at numerous major international airports, they provide complete, customized, and cost-effective security solutions for industries, businesses, institutions, and organizations of all sizes. To find out how Command Security Corporation can solve your security needs, contact John Dunleavy at 800-791-9102 or go to commandsecurity.com. That's John Dunleavy at 800-791-9102 or go to commandsecurity.com. And we have on the phone with us the City of Hartford, Connecticut. We're talking about the DONO project, and we've been talking with Caitlin Palmer, Stephen Cole, and Khara Dodds. And we're going to talk a little bit about the EDA fund that you have, that you've been getting from the government, and what that's all about.
Sure. So that actually began in 2011 with an Obama administration initiative called Strong Cities, Strong Communities, or more endearingly, SC2. We were one of 3 cities that was chosen nationwide. There are 6 EDA regions. EDA is the Economic Development Administration. 3 of those regions, I understand, elected not to fund this because they didn't receive plans that were conducive to their goal. EDA's purpose for doing this was to enhance local technical capacity to be able to achieve local economic development goals. It's rather nebulous, and they did that for purpose. They really wanted the local jurisdictions to determine what their goal strategies are, and that they would then provide us with the technical capacity to achieve those goals. We're one of 3 cities that were funded. Las Vegas, Nevada, and Greensboro, North Carolina were the other 2 cities. We do have a web presence. I encourage folks who are listening to visit our website, sc2hartford.com. You'll be able to learn all you need to know about the project and the program, including its timelines and the criteria on which the plans will be delivered. But very pithy, basically we threw everything on the table, folks. Anything that is an inhibitor to helping us achieve economic growth and success, say over the next 50 years, is on the table. That includes changing laws and ordinances that are on the books. I find that, and I think a lot of my colleagues would agree with me on a local level, we spend too much of our time perhaps fixing the problems from 50 years ago and not nearly enough time planning for what this city is going to look like in the next 50 years. And that's what SC2 really represents. It's a 100-year perspective. How do we take these problems that have been entrenched for the last 50 years lay the groundwork and the foundation so that we can actually achieve some economic success to lay the groundwork for that our future populations to be able to achieve high economic opportunities. We have a city that's at about 17.5% unemployment. A plan like this can have a major impact on the future of the city.
Now you said that. Now, who supplies these plans, and who submits these plans and strategies to the city?
It's a great question. So typically, if we were to create an economic development plan or strategy, we would create a scope of service. We'd hire a consultant. That consultant would then create the plan, and then we would sell it to the community. We're doing this the exact opposite way. In fact, all of the people who otherwise might have served on the selection panel to hire the consultant are now being sold. So the community has to create the plan. The community is going to create the strategy for us, and then they're going to sell that to the decision makers. All of our judges who serve on our panels, and you'll be able to see their bios on our website, they all serve in capacities that can actually effectuate change. They serve in organizations. They command assets and resources. So what we're trying to do is create a culture that's outside of the government having to do things. We just want to be able to create and foster the opportunities and not necessarily have our own hands in the cookie jar. So the community will be creating the plans, and we will be ultimately implementing the plans with the participation of the Economic Development Administration. And I'll tell you, too, that our goal when we started this was to make Hartford internationally recognized as a place where new ideas can come to market and businesses can launch with. Per our website, I can tell you that we've reached 24 countries, all 50 states, and every single city and town in Connecticut is now at least has someone talking about this. For the first time, we have an umbrella project that ties in all the other things that we were working on, including streamlining the permitting process. This wasn't done in a vacuum. When we were awarded the funds back in September 2012, we sat down and we said, we're making a promise to entrepreneurs by doing this project, and we need to make certain that we're able to deliver on those promises. So that's what informed our decision to do the housing study. That's what informed our decision to do the parking analysis. That's also what informed our decision to do the commercial survey in Parkville, one of our neighborhoods. So a number of things that have actually grown out of this thing seemingly are independent. However, when we start to talk about them as part of the SC2 initiative, they start to make a little more sense because we're coalescing a lot of our resources and assets around a common goal, which is, again, to foster entrepreneurship and make Hartford the place where entrepreneurs can come to thrive.
There's a lot of things going on in Hartford. It sounds like the place to be right now. So, we also I've worked in other communities, and I'll tell you that Hartford, more than other communities that I've lived and worked in, has things and stuff. And I'm a favorite son of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. I love my home state. I get back fairly often, and even down here where we don't celebrate Patriots Day, I still take it off as a personal day. But I will tell you that there's no place else I'd rather work than Hartford right now. I take that off as a personal day too, if I was allowed to. But
so I have a question about these these entrepreneurs. Now, do they form teams? Do they do it by themselves? Does it have to be within Connecticut's borders in order to come up with this plan? Could say somebody know a scientist over in we'll say Gabon, Africa, who now happens to know a green initiative, and they could be part of this team.
Yeah, no, absolutely. In fact, we can't preclude anybody from. In fact, I don't want to preclude anybody from participating. Even if you don't speak English, what we're encouraging folks to do is write their plan out in their native language and then use a translation service. Because of the capacities of our judges, we have to have all plans that are submitted to be submitted in English. But nonetheless, a good idea is a good idea, no matter the language, right? So we certainly want to encourage as many good ideas. And as I said, the website alone has the reach of 24 countries, and I expect that many more. To answer your question more directly, individuals will not win the challenge, the SC2 Hartford Challenge. It has to be a multidisciplinary team. What goes into that team, though, will ultimately be determined, or who goes into that team will ultimately be determined by what your plan looks like. So if part of your strategy is to create a gateway entrance to the city, right? You have a 5,000 square foot facility on Main Street. Well, if you're talking about building a building, then you might need an architect. If you're talking about having technical capacity programming that teaches entrepreneurs how to launch businesses, then you might want to partner with one of the institutions, local institutions, to develop that curriculum. So I'll be honest, gentlemen, I don't know what to expect. Nobody does because the floodgates are open. I'll tell you that some of the things I've heard already, I'm incredibly encouraged. This is an 18-month process. We expect that by May 2015, we'll have the finalists being selected. Participants are encouraged to register on the website before July 24th. By July 24th, that'll give me an understanding of how many registrants we have and how many more judges we may need to invite on. But ultimately, we'll be multidisciplinary teams. We can't say who those teams will be. We don't know where they'll be coming from.
Right.
But we do expect some international attention from this.
And the website again is for that?
SC2Hartford.com. SC2, the number 2, Hartford.com.
Now, is there places on this website? Is there a forum on this website where people are talking about this, that people can join in conversations or read about what other people have already talked about this project?
Exactly. Yeah, we really wanted the website to be dynamic. We didn't want it to be a static site. I mean, admittedly, gentlemen, it does lack all of the bells and whistles of a commercial site because it is a challenge site. There's going to be a lot of reading, but it's going to be worth it because the top prize is $500,000. All told, we're giving away $900,000. The EDA gave us $1 million for our grant. We reserved $100,000 so that we could perform the administrative functions like information sessions, producing marketing material, et cetera.
Right.
But we're giving all of this away. We're not keeping a dime of it. So phase 1 will end with $100,000 in prizes, and phase 2 will end in $800,000 in prizes being given out.
Well, and when do you believe phase 2 to be taken? Or when's phase 1 end, or when does phase 2 end?
Great question. So phase 1 will end on September 22nd or 4th. It's on the website, but it's one of those 2 dates in September. Phase 2 will end in May, the following year. So you'll
May
have
of 2015.
we want to give teams. Correct. Yeah. Yep. Well, that's when the prize will be announced. I believe it's actually due in April. My apologies. The submission will be due in April 2015. Well, so the phase 1 proposal is really a 30,000-foot view of what you believe to achieve will help Hartford achieve it. And I want to say, too, I understand this is a New England Real Estate Journal, but a facet of economic development is real estate development, right? But it's not the whole story. So if part of a plan should focus on real estate development, the real crux of that plan should focus on jobs creation. As I've been going around doing these tours, I admit that I spent a good portion of my childhood being embarrassed about how poor I was. And now I like it. I romanticize it. There's something about it that has provided character, I think. So incidentally, I'll tell you that I myself have had the success that I've had academically and economically, partly because my father, who was an unskilled laborer, the term chills me, but nonetheless, that's the term they ascribe. He had opportunities that got him to be able to provide me the opportunities that got me to where I am. That's what your plan should achieve. How do you get this current generation to set up the queue for the next generation to be able to achieve things that only they could hope for?
Right. Future-based thinking.
Very well said, Stephen. Before we go on, I want to talk about the UConn. First of all,
congratulations on both universities.
Right. And about the campuses moving or developing more into the city. Can you go into some detail?
Certainly. It's an excellent it's a great opportunity to have UConn to come into our city, and we are excited about their plan because they are looking to have a neighborhood campus plan. So they won't just have one building. They actually are going to have a building, but yet use spacing for faculty and for classrooms throughout the city. What that's going to do is it's going to create a lot of foot traffic in the city, a lot of pedestrian activity. It's going to be great for economic development. It's going to be great for our small businesses. So we are currently working with them now. They are working on concept plans, and we are just excited about the partnership that we're going to have with them.
And when does that go into effect? What is the timeline? Do they have a idea of when everything will be up and running?
They are planning on the fall of 2017.
Okay.
So they will be working on their concept plans this year, and throughout the next couple of years, they're going to be going into the construction phase, and they're planning to occupy, fall of that 2017.
Sweet.
Well, we only have a couple more minutes left for the interview, but on a lighter side, I wanted to talk back to the single population there. We were talking about that on the break, that's one of the big selling points that I thought. Because I was interested now to move to Hartford. But,
Rick.
What was 78%?
No, 65%, but you said something like 80% live alone?
That's correct. Yeah, it's like 85% live alone and 63%, I believe, are single. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Single young population here.
Well educated, and they got some money
smart.
too. We got some debt, but we got some money too.
Yeah, but what do they think about older men? That's what I'd like to know.
Rick, what the rest of the country thinks of older men. Lock it up. Lock it up.
Well, Rick, I like old men just fine, but as long as you're on your side of the aisle.
What is the just on the idea we were talking about? You guys are doing all these new developments. Connecticut's coming in. You're trying to increase this foot traffic. I know that talking to Scott in the previous week on the New York side of things, when we were talking with the other radio show, he was talking about that. I believe Hartford's like the number 4 most walkable city in the country. And I was also wondering about like how's public transportation and things like that for people that are moving down. And then when you do these new with these new residents that you build, these 1,300, is there any changes to the road access, the new transportation? Is that going to help the Department of Public Transportation there as well?
Well, flying cars are coming in about 2 years.
Right back to the drones.
Yeah, right.
SC2 challenge, Justin Khara. Actually, well, as part of the master plan and the capital parks plan, we've been looking at the transportation network as far as multimodal transportation. Mm-hmm. More specifically, though, and as part of that, we're looking at road reconfigurations and sidewalks and streetscapes. But more specifically, we can say that over $500 million has been invested in CT Fast Track, which is a project that is being used to bring BRT or bus rapid transit through Hartford Union Station, as well as several other stations in Hartford and beyond. Mm-hmm. That's actually expected to begin service as early as 2015.
Oh, wow.
And it's anticipated to, so really soon. And they anticipate that it will carry approximately 16,000 riders a day, actually. So
wow.
In and out of Hartford is what we expect to see from there. And then beyond that, looking in the not-too-distant future, really, they are. We're also working on plans for a New Haven, Hartford, Springfield rail, and that project is going to be designed to provide really high-quality passenger rail service mm-hmm. that's really going to link the entire New England region. It's going to create connections through extensions of our existing Amtrak service, I believe, from Hartford to Springfield to Boston. And from going the other direction from Hartford to New Haven to New York. And that is going to, I think, scheduled to begin ridership 2016, actually. So really not far away. And we really will have an advantageous location along the rail line, obviously. So
right, yeah. I mean,
that's
huge. So not only are you guys redeveloping and to bring, new residents into Hartford, but you're also exchanging the infrastructure in order to transport, make it easier for those to commute from the suburbs in and out in order to create that more foot traffic.
It's a regional outlook for sure.
Mm-hmm.
In addition to that, the city is also working on a plan to improve the streetscape network throughout the city from Union Station to Main Street. It's mm-hmm. about a $25 million investment. And that is also in the works as we speak. And that's going to be a great complement to all of the additional transit traffic that we're going to be having in and out of the city.
Well, fantastic.
No, you guys made it sound so exciting to be there. I'd like to move there. If you could find me a radio station there that would put us on, we'll move over there.
Well, making decisions for both of us, Rick?
I thought we were a couple.
We're a team. We're a team. We really appreciate you guys coming on. Thank you, Caitlin, Stephen, and Khara for coming on and telling us all about Hartford. We could go on forever. I'm sure you guys seem so enthused about it.
Yeah, and it's the DONO project, right? And I think
if they didn't know,
well, they know that.
They know now. So thank you guys for coming on. And if anyone wants to find more information, can you give us one more plug for the website they need to travel to get more information on the SC2 Challenge or about the DONO project?
Sure, I'll be happy to. It's sc2hartford.com for the Hartford Challenge.
And then for the DONO, we've got a dedicated webpage on our hartford.gov website, and it's at hartford.gov/DONO.
DONO.
Yep.
Fantastic. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate the opportunity. Enjoy the day.
You too.
And our interview is brought to you by Command Security Corporation, is the nation's most trusted and experienced provider of affordable contract security services. Command Security Corporation, with offices nationwide and operations at numerous major international airports, they provide complete, customized, and cost-effective security solutions for industries, businesses, institutions, and organizations of all sizes. To find out how Command Security Corporation can solve your security needs, contact John Dunleavy at 800-791-9102 or go to commandsecurity.com. That's John Dunleavy at 800-791-9102 or go to commandsecurity.com. And we'll be right back on Money Matters Radio Network.
Rick Kaplan and Eric Wilson, right here on the Money Matters Radio Network and online at moneymattersboston.com.
And we're back on New England Real Estate Journal Radio. I'm Rick Kaplan with my co-host Eric Wilson, and our next segment is brought to you by, do you sell to facility managers, building owners, or property managers? See thousands of these decision makers at the Northeast Buildings and Facilities Management Show, June 18th and 19th at the Boston Convention Center. Go to proexpos.com. That's proexpos.com. And we had scheduled a guest, Harry Pratt. He ran the marathon. This was his 25th anniversary of running the marathon. But we can't get a hold of him. So
it is lunchtime on Hump Day.
Maybe it is lunchtime. You know, he ran the marathon on Monday, so
he's probably really hungry.
Probably really hungry. Or he's home recuperating because I know if I ran the marathon, I wouldn't be working for another 3 months.
It would take you 3 months to run a marathon.
I'd still be running
1 mile a day, half walked.
So one of the, we were talking at the beginning of the show that a lot of people from the industry have ran on the marathon, and we went to one of the events.
Spit it out.
I'm trying to. We went to an event for Running for Row.
Yeah, Running for Row.
And
Roseanne Sedoya from National Development.
Yes, and Roseanne, she attended, I heard.
She did. She was cheering on those that were cheering on her.
Right.
And, it was Maria Benway and Sarah Freeman of Service Master by Gilmore.
Well, it's pretty encouraging that people are, they after this whole year of recuperating from this tragedy and then going back to this scene where all of this happened.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's...
it must have been a hurdle for them.
Yeah,
definitely.
I mean, that definitely is some... Got to give them credit for
post-traumatic stress. I mean,
But I heard on the news a lot of them that were injured in that had attended.
Yeah, Boston Strong, baby.
Boston Strong, that's right.
I mean, they didn't say that for no reason. They knew.
But I mean, that's one of the things, and that's one thing that I was thinking about the other day when they say Boston Strong, and what that really means. And I think when you go and look at all the outskirts of Boston, where people,
the greater Boston area,
where people have lived, like the Dorchester area, Southie, the West End, all these areas, East Boston. There's so many families, strong family
ties
to those areas. And those people then move out to the suburbs, but they still have those ties to the area. Like if you're born in Southie, you lived in Southie.
Right. It doesn't matter where you move.
That's
you're
right.
From
No
Southie.
matter where you go.
I had a buddy growing up in Marshfield. He was from Southie, even though born and raised in Marshfield. But his parents were from Southie, so they were all from Southie.
Yeah, same with me. My father grew up in Dorchester.
Right.
As a little kid, I hung around in Dorchester, but it's like I'm a Boston kid,
right?
Dorchester. No matter where I would live, I'll always remember those.
Right.
Days.
You'll always be a Boston kid.
I'll always be a Boston kid. Boston strong. One of the other things...
Not strong, Rick. Boston.
No,
we just talked about how you don't run miles.
Boston...
you can't be in here talking about you lift weights.
Boston.
Although your Throwback Thursday last week, if anyone didn't see that on Facebook, Rick's Throwback Thursday on the Journal, check it out. Someone was on that Hercules in New York fix trying to be Arnold Schwarzenegger. It was fantastic. Although he did buy that tank top at Gap Children. The old Gap Kids tank top in order to show the muscles off.
Well, one of the other things we wanted to talk about is we made a prediction.
Oh, we were talking about our Nostradamus, how look, we're ridiculous. We're futurists now.
Yeah.
Chalk it up right now. Check mark to the NERJ radio team.
When John Henry bought the Boston Globe.
Right, we talked about it last year when he bought it for $70 million.
And the first thing that we said.
Yeah, he's moving the business, selling the land.
That's right. And now what's happening?
He's moving the business, and he's listed
selling the land.
Yeah, he's listed the property with Colliers International.
Yeah.
And it's, 16,000 square feet?
The building?
16.5 acres.
Right.
Yeah. It was assessed $40.3 million, I believe it was assessed for. They thought it was between 50 and 70 what he paid for, but you know that, I mean, it's going to be a hot ticket. Developers must. I mean, they've been looking at that forever.
The developers must be in line right now.
Right, because they've been looking at that as retail and residence.
Whatever he's asking for it.
And that's right across from Ink Block, too, right?
On the other side of the highway.
Right, on the other side of the highway is the Ink Block, which is another one of those areas. Yeah. So you already have a model to build it after of building these
but it's close,
on-site communities.
Closer to the water.
Right. Would you have all water view?
That's right.
Yeah.
So whoever...
And that's on what, Morrissey Boulevard?
That's off Morrissey Boulevard. But that's where, the developers probably are standing in line right now.
I would assume, yes.
So whatever he's asking, it's going to sell for more than what he's asking, I'm sure, because, I mean, it's an ideal location.
Yeah, it's going to be a big redevelopment project as soon as that gets sold, I'm sure.
I'm sure. I mean, that's hot property. And you heard it here first a year ago.
You did. As soon as it came out, we made that.
Jumped on the bandwagon then.
Well, we didn't get anything for it other than the credibility.
We should get a brokerage fee.
For what?
Just making,
because we told them that they would be brokering
predicted that, and that's what happened.
Always trying to get something right.
That's right. Well,
such a taker.
The segment of the show was brought to you by... Do you sell to facility managers, building owners, or property managers? See thousands of these decision makers at the Northeast Buildings and Facilities Management Show, June 18th and 19th at the Boston Convention Center. Go to proexpos.com. That's proexpos.com. And we'll be right back on Money Matters Radio Network.
Rick Kaplan is right here on the Money Matters Radio Network.
And we're back on the New England Real Estate Journal radio show. I'm Rick Kaplan with my co-host Eric Wilson, and we're coming to a close of another show. And our show is brought to you by the New England Real Estate Journal, bringing together the commercial real estate industry for over 50 years. Find us at NEREJ.com. If you'd like to be a guest or sponsor for the show, call 800-654-4993 or email us at radio@nerej.com. Again, that's 800-654-4993 or email radio@nerej.com. And Eric, what events do we have coming up?
What events do we have coming up? Monday, the 28th, we're going to a groundbreaking down in Rhode Island with East West Bank. I know we have Thursday is the Boston Society of Architects is having an event next Thursday. So you can go to the BSA.
No, that's this Thursday.
Oh, sorry, that was last week. So you'll tell us more about that next week.
Yeah.
If his Award of Excellence is next Thursday, that's what I meant to say. Yep, they're having their Award of Excellence May 22nd, but I think next week's a network.
And then you have June 18th and 19th, you have the NEBFM Facilities Management Show.
We're touring the New Hampshire State House for IREM on May 8th.
May 8th.
May 14th, if you're in the New York area, the New York City Finance Expo.
And on June 11th, we're having a big Cocktails and Conversations event up in Portsmouth, New Hampshire at the Sheraton Harborside.
Have we called it the Cocktails and Conversations series yet? Because it seems like that's what it's become, since that's the name of all of them now.
Eric, the name is long enough.
I'm just saying, it's part of the, you can start doing the Cocktails and Conversations series. Portsmouth event.
Right.
Boston event. You know what I mean? Because that's what it's become.
Yeah.
That's going to be a great show. So anybody in that area, Northern Mass.
What about just Epic?
Epic? I don't know about that. There's too many terrible branding. That's why I invented Cocktails and Conversations. Also, we have in May 22nd, I'm going to the MEMA. I'll be going to tour the emergency bunker, which is really cool with IREM. Also, on May 14th, if you're a property manager and you're looking to get certified, they're having a huge one-day event with NEMA, IREM, and ARS, Restoration Services. They're putting on the Gillette training seminar for property managers. So if
That would probably be good.
Yeah, if you're a property manager and you want to attend that, that's definitely going to be attended by about 500 of them. NEREJRadio.org or ironboston.org. You can find more information about that.
Well, I'd like to thank our guest today from Hartford, Connecticut, talking about the DONO project. Caitlin Palmer, Stephen Cole. Stephen, actually, he had a lot of great information he put out.
He did.
And
he almost lured you down there with all the statistics.
He did. And Khara, Dodds. And if you're single and you...
if you're single, they're building residences. The
Right.
nightlife's great. They got 11 parks that go around the border,
That's
which,
right.
by the way, I thought was awesome, and I almost asked them about disc golf.
That's right.
Are they putting disc golf in there? Because if they are, they may have a new residence.
Well, I'm thinking of moving there, because...
Because we want you out of Boston.
A single guy like myself,
Yeah, right?
Yeah. So I want to thank them. I also want to thank Harry Pratt for not picking up the phone.
You also thank our sponsors, New England
wanna
Restaurant
thank
Brokers,
New England Restaurant
Command
Brokers,
Security Corporation,
Command Security Corporation,
NEBFM 14,
NEBFM, and DONO Project.
the DONO
Hartford,
Project, of
Connecticut.
course.
And I'd like to thank the New England Real Estate Journal, bringing together the commercial real estate industry for over 50 years. Find us at NEREJ.com. If you'd like to be a guest or sponsor for the show, call 800-654-4993 or email us at radio@nerej.com. Again, that's 800-654-4993 or email radio@nerej.com. And this deal is done.
It's New England Real Estate Journal Radio on the Money Matters Radio Network and online at moneymattersboston.com.